Hello everyone and good evening. Welcome to the Daily Wrap for Tuesday, the 26th of July, 2022. Of course, I'm Darkside Phil, and let's talk about everything that went down today. On today's episode of the Level 1 podcast, I went through my history with the Batman Arkham series, but notably, my history with Batman Arkham Asylum. Today we decided that we were going to start up Batman Arkham Asylum Remastered, also known as Return to Arkham Asylum, which came in third place in the Viewer's Choice poll, and incidentally was the game that the members of DSPGaming chose as the playthrough they wanted to see most this summer. Since we were starting that up today, I figured, hey, why not give my history with the franchise, starting with Batman Arkham Asylum back in 2009. I explained many things about how it was a very important playthrough for me. It was actually the first playthrough where, unlike all the other games that I had played up to that point on YouTube, instead of just playing them as like a 2-hour night session after my job, I took time off of work to play this one, which was a very special thing because back then there was no one who was getting special advanced copies. There were no, preferred streamers or YouTubers who got these things weeks in advance and had full playthroughs and streams up of them early. It was all, you go on release day, you buy it, you play it yourself, and if you had a playthrough up before anyone else because you put the effort in, you would get the views, right? That's what it was all about back then. And it was a really important playthrough for me. It was a special time back then in 2009. Watch the Level 1 podcast for the full story. It's a pretty good one. And then we started playing Batman on the first stream. It went really well. I would say this remastered edition, I think it was from 2016 or 2017, actually runs pretty well. Not 60 frames, which is kind of frustrating because most games I play today are 60 frames on PS5, but it's still between 25 and 30 frames of animation, and the graphics look good. Lots of detail, very modernized graphic, which is good. And definitely playing it this time around with a interactive audience. It's very different. People are like, hey, you can do this. Here's a riddle you can solve right now if you didn't know. And it's neat because when I first played the game, I didn't have any interactivity. I didn't have any feedback from anyone. It was just me playing for myself and uploading the videos and basically missing a ton of content that's in the game. And this time around, I'm actually kind of experiencing that content, which is nice. So I had a really good time with it today. People seem to really enjoy the first run. And in addition, a lot of people have said that this is going to be a meaningful playthrough to them because this is one of the first things I ever played on YouTube back in the day that got a lot of notoriety and views. And a lot of people discovered me through this playthrough 13 years ago. And so to see me play it only the second time, that's right, this is only the second time I'm ever playing this game over all these years, is pretty neat. So everything went well. Support was pretty good. I mean, was it amazing over the top support? No. But was it good support? Yeah, I was pleased. Engagement was great. We had tons of likes. Again, people helping me with the game. It went really well. I had a good time. Okay. It couldn't be more of the opposite for the late stream. Seriously. Tonight, I decided to take Fable Anniversary and flip it from a daytime stream to a late night chill stream. I didn't know how much I had left in the game. I only had an hour left in the game. We played through it. The last hour of the game is incredibly boring. You have 2 boss fights. One is against, well, without spoiling, one's supposed to be a twist surprise boss fight, and the other one is obviously the guy, Jack of Blades, who has been the villain pretty much the whole game. They suck. They're very poorly designed. They're not interesting at all. The final run to the final boss is a joke. You literally run by everyone and don't have to fight anything, just like you're playing old school Halo, which is really ridiculous. But then again, keep in mind this game is from 2004, and they didn't change any of the gameplay mechanics or anything like that for this anniversary run. They just basically updated the graphics, you see? So it was kind of dated, and by the time that I finished it, I was like, wow, took an hour, I beat it, and people are like, oh, there's optional DLC content. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm bored. The game, honestly, I don't feel like I liked it as much this time as I did 8 years ago. And I don't know if 8 years ago, it was just because it was an isolated playthrough that was a quick one that I was able to play and experience at a time when that was very hectic for me. Back then, I was in the midst of 2014. I was preparing to move across the country. I was traveling a lot that year, house hunting, and then preparing for the move and everything. So maybe at that time, it was just a different experience because I wasn't doing interactive streams. And it was just, I don't know. I feel like the game is very dated. And I feel like Fable 2 and 3 are better. What's funny is people said I reviewed Fable Anniversary 8 years ago and said it's the best game in the franchise. I liked it better than 2 and 3. I don't even know how I could possibly say that because the game is so basic and dated and basically wasn't very entertaining to me this time around, just being honest. So, effectively, I'm done with Fable. However, this throws a monkey wrench into our plans for tomorrow. Because originally what we were doing is there was a poll live on the main channel page of DSPGaming that you guys have been voting on since this morning's podcast. And it has 4 options for tomorrow's streams. Option number 1, Final Fantasy VII and more Fable Anniversary. Option number 2, Final Fantasy VII and Multiverses. Option number 3, more Batman and Fable Anniversary. And option number 4, more Batman and Multiverses. Well, guess what? We're done with Fable. It's off the table. So it's not even an option. That means really all that matters is your vote for either Final Fantasy or Batman. Okay? So if you already voted, don't worry. Your vote still counts. If you haven't voted yet, it doesn't matter which option you vote for Final Fantasy or Batman. Your vote is only going to count for Final Fantasy or Batman. So even though there's 4 options, it essentially just means there's 2 options. Either Final Fantasy VII or Batman. So whatever you vote, I'll count, and overnight in the morning, we'll add the percents together or whatever, and we'll figure out which one won, Final Fantasy or Batman, and that will be the main gameplay stream tomorrow. All right, tomorrow night is going to be Multiverses no matter what. The good news is, someone told me that they have changed up the characters available. Because this is the open beta, they made 5 different characters unlocked that you can now play from the get-go without having to spend the in-game currency, which is kind of neat that they did that for variety purposes. So now I'll probably try out other characters who I didn't play with yet, which would be pretty cool. And then whatever wins the poll will be played on the first stream. Whatever loses the poll will actually be what's on the first stream on Friday. Keep in mind, Friday night is Friday Night Fights. Saturday is the big marathon closet clean-out event, which means regularly scheduled gameplay streams won't resume until Sunday. And we're going to have an opening. We got to figure out what we want to start playing now for late night streams. And we're going to have lots of options, right? We could go and get something off of PlayStation Plus. We could go on Game Pass for a night and see what's on there. We haven't been on Game Pass in a very long time. So we could jump on there and see what's new and what's been added and if there's anything on there. We could look at Nintendo Online games, classics. There's a lot of options, all right? So we got to think about this over the next few days to determine what's a new late night stream that we want to start up sooner rather than later, because we don't have another option for a late night game right now, okay? All right, guys, thank you. Today was a great streaming day, but what I will say is this. The late stream tonight, Fable, almost no support. I think I made $16 in tips and almost nothing else. And sadly, I hate to say it, with Multiverses the last couple of nights, right, has kind of been similar situation. And I hope that it's not a pattern. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that the late night streams now, for some odd reason, are always going to be low support. I don't know what's been going on in regards to certain games I'm playing on late night streams, but yeah, it is a little bit worrying and disheartening when, you know, I'm doing my best to do variety. Like last night, I tried to do Fighter's History, almost no support whatsoever. Multiverses, almost no support whatsoever, with like a Hail Mary contribution thrown in at the end of each stream. So like almost every late stream this week didn't do well. While the daytime streams are still doing decently, that's a concern. You know, maybe we need to get better stuff into the late night streams. Maybe what I could do is alternate Multiverses with another chill game to get variety, but we have to figure out what's that other game, right? That's gonna make sense in that slot. So let's think about it, okay? Guys, thank you. I'll see you in the morning for whatever you vote for, and Multiverses on the late stream, all right? Peace out. See you then.